Today is Mary Anning's 225th birthday, and well, if you don't know about Mary Anning, where have you been? Pioneering fossil collector from Lyme Regis. Well, let's speak to fossil expert Wolfgang Grulke, who is from Auburn in North Dorset. Now, Wolfgang has created a book about Mary Anning, and he has made it in collaboration with Dorset school children, and it's called She Sold Seashells and Dragons. That's the name of the book. Wolfgang, hello. Afternoon to you.
Hi, Lucy.
Hello. Right, I love Mary Anning, and you know the best thing about it, Wolfgang, is that my daughter taught me about Mary Anning first, which is great that I'm learning from her. What school children love her, don't they? What's your passion for Mary Anning?
Well, personally, Mary Anning introduced me into fossils 50 years ago. Mm-hmm. I was dragged down to the beach at Lyme Regis by a friend of mine. I had no idea what fossils were. This was in my early 20s. And basically, that evening we sat in the Alexandra Hotel, and one of the locals said, well, you guys looking for fossils, you're just like Mary Anning. Mm-hmm. You know, quizzical, who is Mary Anning? But since then, sort of my fossil collecting has gone crazy, and I've spent more than 50 years putting a collection together.
Oh, wow.
And the Mary Anning book, which you referred to, is really kind of going full circle from, she introduced me to fossils. Mm-hmm. Now we did this book using AI images for the first time.
Okay, and so did you find fossils that first time, or what was that first fossil collecting moment like when you weren't sure what you were doing?
Well, my friend knew exactly what he was doing, and I helped him carry this huge ammonite back to the car. Ooh. That was my introduction.
Oh. Wow. And then now I believe your fossil collection is kept in a barn where you live in Auburn. And how full is that barn with fossils?
Well, it's, it contains a fossil collection that I put together over that period of time, and it's from all over the world. Mm-hmm. And it's grown quite beyond what initially was a shed. And is now quite voluminous, but it's a fun place to share with other passionate collectors.
Good. Well, let's hear your upload, because this is an extract from your book, and this is a young Mary Anning fan. This is Abigail Selvaratnam, who is reading a little bit from your book. Let's have a listen.
The Rockfall. Mary, age 34, 1833. Many visitors now came to Lyme to see the real curiosity, Mary herself. On some day she felt on top of the world. On a sunny autumn day in October, Mary was on her usual collecting trip along the cliffs with her dog, Tray, her faithful companion. Suddenly she became aware of a deep rumble as the earth shifted above her. Instinctively she leapt away from danger, scrambling from boulder to boulder to boulder, even as she was being covered by falling dust, rocks and slush. As she turned to face the cliff, she realized she had narrowly avoided being killed by a huge landslide. Her dearest Tray was missing, buried beneath the rubble and the rocks. Mary wrote this note to her friend Charlotte Murchison. Perhaps you will laugh when I say that the death of my old faithful dog has quite upset me. The cliff fell upon him and killed him in a moment before my eyes, and so close to my feet, it was but a moment between me and the same fate.
Beautifully read there by Abigail, but a real reminder that, you know what, it's quite dangerous, isn't it, when you're hanging out below cliffs in Dorset?
Yes, of course, those cliffs continue to fall, and that's the reason why we find so many fossils. And that tragic day, of course, where Mary lost her dog Tray, mm-hmm. I think is one of the 2 or 3 moments in Mary's life that every child knows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. So your book, She Sold Seashells and Dragons. What is it? What did you want to do with this book? Because what's the involvement of AI? You kind of touched on it a little bit earlier.
Well, Mary Anning is known from only one image, a painting that was commissioned by her brother just before she died. And that's the image that's included in the school curriculum. So when the 10 to 12-year-olds learn about Mary Anning, they have this one image. And when we asked our local school kids, well, how old is Mary Anning? They would say, oh, she's my grandmother's age. But the reality is that Mary actually made many of her most important discoveries in her teens and 20s, but there are no images of her at this time. And I'd had a career in high tech and including AI. And so I thought, well, why don't we create some images? And we worked with the kids of our local school here to come up with hundreds of versions of what Mary Anning might have looked like in her youth from that one painting as a seed, if you like. And then we asked the kids to choose which one they would like to have in this book.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
And the effect on them is really profound. When you show them this picture of the young Mary Anning and the others that we've used in the book, they just cheer. They say, "Wow, she's my age."
It's inspirational, isn't it? What local school? What school is that you've been working on this book with?
Well, several of the schools in our area, but Sherborne Prep has played a particularly strong role in it.
Oh, good. Okay.
The effect to me is just astonishing when they realize she was like my age.
Yeah. Well, it's something I've been meaning to do, to go and see the statue in Lyme Regis. And I keep getting told off by my daughter, we haven't been to see her yet. We haven't been to see her yet, Mum. But yeah, she's an inspiration in our household. So I'm glad that you've put your work into a book. Thank you so much for coming on. That is our guest here on Upload this afternoon, fossil expert Wolfgang.
BBC Upload. BBC Upload.
Wolfgang Grulke, who is from Oborn, with us on Upload, talking about his book She Sold Seashells and Dragons, which is out now. And if you are a creative just like Wolfgang, we could be featuring you here on Upload, our creative platform here on BBC Radio Solent. So if you have written work, if you have podcasts, reviews, sketches, poetry, diaries, comedy, get it over to us on Upload at bbc.co.uk/upload.